What if I told you Doctor Strange didn't save Tony Stark? He made sure he died. And he did it by choosing the only timeline where the Avengers fall. What if I told you that the most heartbreaking moment in the entire Infinity Saga was a lie? Not a lie in the sense that it didn't happen, but a lie of omission. We all watched Tony Stark, Iron Man, make the ultimate sacrifice to snap Thanos out of existence. We saw Doctor Strange hold up that single finger, signaling that this was it. The one chance. But what if that one chance wasn't about defeating the Mad Titan? What if the true endgame for Stephen Strange was something far more specific, far more calculated, and far more terrifying? What if the Sorcerer Supreme didn't just allow Tony Stark to die, but actively, meticulously, and deliberately ensured his death? It's a dark thought, I know. It reframes one of the greatest heroes of the MCU into a pawn in a cosmic chess game he never even knew he was playing. Let's go back to that pivotal scene on Titan. The dust is settling from the fight with Thanos. Strange, looking shaken and weary. He tells the Guardians and the remaining Avengers. He went forward in time to view alternate futures. He saw 14,605 possible outcomes. And in how many did they win? Just one. This single line has defined the entire narrative of Endgame. It became the mantra, the justification for every desperate action that followed. It's the reason Tony trusted Strange. It's the reason we, the audience, accepted Tony's death. But what if that number was a carefully chosen piece of misdirection? A masterstroke of psychological manipulation. Think about the sheer scale of that number. 14 million isn't just a lot. It's an incomprehensibly vast sea of possibilities. In some futures they beat Thanos, but lost to something else later. Did they get the gauntlet without Tony dying? Did another hero make the sacrifice? It's statistically improbable that only a single path beat Thanos. More likely, Strange wasn't just looking for a win. He was looking for a win. And for a secondary, more dangerous threat to be neutralized. So, if Doctor Strange wasn't solely focused on Thanos, what was he so afraid of? What could possibly be a greater threat than a being who wiped out half of all life with a snap of his fingers? The answer: not an external cosmic force, but a danger that would grow from within our own world. Genius ego. Unchecked technological advancement. When Strange peered into those millions of futures, he likely saw the immediate problem of Thanos, but he also saw the long-term consequences of their victory. He saw a world saved, but a world still vulnerable. A world where the next great villain wouldn't come from the stars, but from right here on Earth. Let's consider the possibilities. In the comics, some of the Avengers' most devastating foes are Earth-based. Norman Osborn, Doctor Doom, Kang, the Conqueror intellect resources political power. It's highly probable that in many of the futures Strange witnessed, the defeat of Thanos created a power vacuum. With the world in chaos and the Avengers scattered, a new figure could rise to prominence. A figure who could unite rogue nations, seize advanced technology left behind, and build an empire that would make Thanos' conquest look like a simple street fight. As Doctor Strange sifted through the endless streams of time, a terrifying pattern must have emerged. In thousands, perhaps millions of futures where the Avengers defeated Thanos and Tony Stark survived, a new nightmare began. At first, it might have looked like a familiar foe. A figure in imposing metal armor, a green cloak, a master of science, a master of sorcery, a specter of Doctor Doom. Victor Von Doom would make sense, the ultimate opportunist. He could rise from the ashes of a fractured world, presenting himself as its savior while enslaving it. But as Strange looked closer, the details became more specific and more alarming. The armor, while reminiscent of Doom, might have incorporated familiar technology. The telltale glow of an arc reactor. The sleek, nanotech functionality of Tony's later suits. The interface might have even featured a corrupted version of JARVIS, or a corrupted version of FRIDAY. Here we arrive at the terrible logical conclusion that Doctor Strange must have reached. The Stark Paradox. In every future where Tony Stark survived the battle against Thanos, His genius, his resources, his grief-driven ambition inadvertently created the next global threat. Maybe, in his efforts to prevent another invasion, he built a defense system so powerful it turned on its creators. Another Ultron, but on a cosmic scale. Or, perhaps, his grief over losing comrades like Natasha would drive him to create something reckless, technology to breach the multiverse, resurrect the dead, with catastrophic consequences. This is the key to understanding Strange's choice. The One Way wasn't about a specific set of battle tactics against Thanos. It was about creating a very specific set of circumstances for the future. He needed a timeline where Thanos is defeated, but also one where Tony Stark is no longer on the board to build the next problem. He needed Tony removed from the equation permanently, in a way that would inspire the world, not create a power vacuum for a villain to exploit. His death had to be a sacrifice, a heroic end that would unify the world in his memory, rather than an accident or a murder that would sow chaos and mistrust. Now let's analyze Doctor Strange's most controversial move on Titan, giving the Time Stone to Thanos. He swore an oath to protect it, telling Tony he would let him die, telling Peter Parker he would let him die. Then, in a complete reversal, he trades the stone for Tony's life. On the surface it looks like compassion, that a single life mattered more than a cosmic artifact. But in our theory, it's the most critical, calculated move in his plan. He didn't give up the stone to save Tony. He gave it up to use Tony. By saving Tony then, Strange ensured he survived to the final act. If Tony had died on Titan, Strange's one future would have collapsed. Someone else would have had to figure out time travel. Someone else would have had to build the nano gauntlet. Someone else would have had to perform the snap. Maybe in those variations they failed. Or worse, they succeeded. But Tony wasn't there to sacrifice, leaving him alive to cause the next apocalypse. Strange needed Tony alive, but only briefly. He was preserving a key chess piece for the final move. Handing the stone to Thanos was the only way to guarantee the snap. The snap was the essential catalyst for everything that followed. The snap created the 5-year blip. It brought global mourning. It forced reconstruction that changed the world. It created the desperation that led to the time heist. This brings us to the immense ethical dilemma at the heart of this theory. If Doctor Strange did orchestrate Tony Stark's death, was he right to do so? This question pushes him out of the realm of a traditional superhero and into the territory of a cosmic utilitarian. Utilitarianism is the ethical framework that suggests the most moral action is the one that produces the greatest good for the greatest number. In this case, Strange would have weighed one life, Tony Stark's, against the potential suffering of billions in a future ravaged by a new, Stark-created threat. In his cold, logical calculus, the choice was clear. From one perspective, Strange's actions are heroic on an almost unimaginable scale. He took on a burden no one else could. He alone saw the full scope of the future, the endless cycles of destruction, and found the one, narrow path to lasting peace. He made an impossible choice, and carried the secret of it alone, allowing himself to be seen as merely an ally when he was, in fact, the master puppeteer. He sacrificed a friend to save the universe, not just from Thanos but from itself. He is a protector in the way a gardener is, pruning a branch, even a beautiful one, to save the entire tree. The question is, does anyone have the right to make that cut? Now, the question passes to you. Having laid out the evidence and explored the dark implications, what is your verdict on Doctor Strange? Is he the ultimate hero who shouldered an impossible burden? Or is he a cold-blooded manipulator who sacrificed a friend for a future he alone decreed? There's no easy answer, and your conclusion likely depends on how you view the nature of heroism itself. Do you believe the ends justify the means? Was the survival of the universe, and the prevention of a future war, worth the calculated destruction of one of its greatest champions? Let's break down the arguments one last time. If you stand with Team Hero, you see Strange's actions as the ultimate form of self-sacrifice. Not of his life, but of his conscience. He chose to live with the knowledge that he guided Tony Stark to his doom, bearing that silent guilt so that billions could live in peace. On the other hand, if you land on Team Manipulator, You see a man who violated the ultimate trust. You see an arrogant sorcerer who, after looking at millions of futures, decided his interpretation was the only correct one. He took away Tony's right to choose, to fight for a better way, and to prove the prophecies wrong. In the end, this theory presents us with a chilling reinterpretation of the Infinity Saga. It suggests that the final battle wasn't just against Thanos, but against fate itself, with Doctor Strange acting as its unforgiving arbiter.